Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School, and I woke up this morning. I'm about to go downstairs and get a little workout. My last day in New Orleans. I'm about to head home in a little bit, but y'all know I'm training for this marathon, which is mortifying. I mean, it's just like I ain't never ran 26 miles before. I did a half marathon. This will be my first full marathon in October, but I'm doing it because I'm tired of being a fat black man, and I don't want to go out too early. You know, I don't want to go out sooner than I'm supposed to. So I figure I'll go out here and do something I don't want to do, so that I can avoid the things I don't want to have to go through later on down the line. But anyway, I was reading today about Nipsey Hussle and how Nipsey died, and I thought about that a lot. You know, I think that Nipsey was really a person that had an extraordinary degree of vision. You know, in terms of his commitment to his community, his commitment to developing himself, his commitment to changing the narrative and the way of thinking of black men. But as you guys know, the person that's being tried right now for killing him was a guy named Eric Holder, and I was very surprised to find out that they were both part of the same, same gang. They were both Crips, and it just didn't. It was a little bit strange to me. I talked to some of my friends in LA about it just to try to get some insight into it. But either way, though, I think as black men, we really are all in the same gang. Like, or we should be. Shit. I mean, everybody wants to kill the black man. So when black men want to kill other black men, we are only helping the enemy. You might as well be working for the Klan when you're shooting down another black man. That's just my opinion on it. But I read this article in News One today, and they were sharing Nipsey's last words that he shared, right before he was killed. And those last words were, "You got me." Like okay, you got me. Like, all right, like death. Death. It's almost like, to me. I don't know. I don't know Nipsey. I didn't know him as a person like that. I knew of him. I was 1 degree of separation from him. I knew a lot of people that knew him, but I did not know him personally. And but I'm sure we both studied things like powernomics and all that stuff. So we were speaking the same language. So it was only a matter of time, I imagine, before we would have crossed paths. But when I hear "you got me," it's almost like resigning to the tragedy that comes with being a young black man in America. It's just I don't know a single black man who hasn't come close to being killed or going to prison. I mean, it's just, and myself included. I mean, it's not like I was ever insulated from any of that. There was a lot of times where I had situations with guys. It might be something silly, something basic, like, a girl. You meet a girl and her ex-boyfriend is a different kind of guy. You know what I mean? A jealous or whatever. It might be dealing with cops. I've dealt with that. It might be wrong place, wrong time. Dealt with that. Having wrong friends. Dealt with that. And I think that the continuous effort to criminalize and exterminate the black man is one that we have to be very much aware of. Because it starts with the demonization of the black man. When you demonize and you sort of psychologically ostracize the black man, like sort of isolate him, like, okay, these people something's wrong with these people. They're not as ethical as everybody else. They're more predatory than everybody else. They're more harmful than everybody else. They're more dangerous than everybody else. When that happens, what you're doing is you're preparing them for extermination or prison. Because the first step to get me to want to, if I'm trying to convince you to go help me execute, a rodent, first thing I got to do is convince you that the rodent is dangerous and unhealthy and bad and scary and everything else, right? So the black man is portrayed that way all through media, in ways that just pretty much make us less than human. So when a black man gets killed, that's why you don't see a reaction the way you see the reaction when a white woman gets killed. When a white woman gets killed, people are confused, like, oh, how could this happen? She was such a good person. A black man gets killed, people are like, yeah, he was probably into some stuff. I saw that, with my homeboy, my best friend Greg Wilkins in Louisville, Kentucky, who got shot in the black side of town. And he got shot in the head in front of his daughter, right inside his house, and by people that I don't think he knew. He was one of my best friends. I didn't know these guys. I never met them. And and there was the same time a white woman got killed, across town. And the white woman, they put that shit on the front page of the newspaper. They talked about it all week. They held candlelight vigils, $25,000 reward, all of that stuff. They didn't do anything for my friend. They barely had that in the paper. They didn't really talk about it much. It wasn't really, discussed. They didn't talk about the fact that he had a daughter who, she's now grown up. She's much older than she was, but she's never, she called me and she told me, she said, I've never heard my father's voice, because he was asking me if I had any recordings or anything. I didn't, I hadn't talked to her in a while, And but because he was my best friend, I felt the need to check in on her to see how she was doing. And that was one thing that she said haunted her. She said, I've never heard my father's voice. So, when you tell me about little immigrant kids being separated from their parents, I feel bad for them, but I don't want to talk about that before we talk about all the black children that are separated from their parents because of situations like this. Like what happened to my homeboy Greg, what happened to Nipsey Hussle out in LA. Nipsey's got family, you know what I mean? That child does not have their father anymore, so ultimately I think, well, he's got two kids, I believe, one with Lauren London, the other one with the lady that they're kind of fighting with a little bit. But either way, though, it's just kind of sad, so anyway, there's more details in the story about, like the details in terms of Nipsey believing that there's paperwork. He said they got paperwork on you. We was talking to Eric Holder, the guy that's accused of shooting him, and the interpretation that the witness had is that Nipsey was trying to help him. He's basically saying, and, hey, look, you need to watch your back, and and it's which if that's the case, then that really speaks to me about how a lot of times the people that come and get you are the people that you try to help. Like you really think it's your enemies that come and get you. A lot of times it's people that you help that come get you because maybe they feel like you didn't help them enough. It's the person where maybe you've loaned them $5,000 and they felt like you owed them 10. Or you were paying their rent for 3 years and they felt like you should have kept paying it. You know what I mean? In fact, when I think about people that have really hurt my feelings in terms of really betraying me or really just being nasty to me, it's usually people that I've done lots of things for. It's I've rarely really been hit hard by people that I did nothing for. It's usually people that I did something for and tried to help them, and then it comes back to bite you, because maybe that person's not mentally healthy, or they feel somebody owes them something, or they, I don't know what it is, and it's tough because, and I'm sure Nipsey felt this way, but it's tough, especially when you're in the public eye. Nipsey was far, he's done far more than I'll do, but I'm known in a few spaces, and I've been criticized for being too nice. Like, well, you're too nice. You shouldn't be helping these people because da da da. But I'm like, no, but helping people is what you're supposed to do, and I'm sure Nipsey got that. I'm sure Nipsey was, people were telling him like, you're a celebrity. You need to separate yourself. You need more security. You need to be away from it. But I respect the fact that he wanted to be around his people. But at the same time, he made the ultimate sacrifice. But I personally don't see Nipsey as having made a big mistake in that area. I think that his sacrifice is going to, just reap tremendous benefits to the world, to the community. I mean, there's a lot of people out here who admire Nipsey Hussle, who've learned from him after his death, that didn't even know who he was when he was alive. A lot of people, if you've done a survey and said, how many of y'all know one Nipsey Hussle song, they didn't know. Didn't nobody know. I'm gonna say nobody, but a lot of people didn't know Nipsey Hussle songs. Now, he became very iconic, and that iconic impact is going to last forever. Like, he's going to be remembered 40 years from now, right? So I'm not saying that I'm happy that it happened at all. I'm just saying that sometimes a sacrifice is more beneficial than avoiding, the things that you fear. It sounds to me like Nipsey wasn't afraid to die. I can't imagine being the man that he was, doing the things he did in the environment that he did it in, and constantly being scared of dying. He's probably replayed death a million times in his head, which is a type of trauma that black people go through that nobody addresses. That trauma really affects your brain. It really shapes the chemistry of your brain. And in his words, his last words, you got me, almost sound, it's not like I'm shocked this is happening. It's like, damn, okay, I guess game over. So that's it. Those are my thoughts on the situation. It makes me very, very sad. I think that the situation is interesting because it's a microcosm of what black men go through all over the world. I also think that it's tragically sad in the sense that I think as black people, we've got to work on ways to, engaging in better conflict resolution, as well as the ability, because getting the ability to get along is the most important part of being able to have any sort of unity or build anything. You can't build a family if you can't get along. You can't build an organization if you can't get along. You can't build a corporation if you can't get along. You can't build shit if you can't get along. We need conflict resolution skill. We also need codes of conduct, where people just understand that certain things you don't do. Like, a black man ain't got no business killing another black man. I don't care unless he tries. Maybe if he tries to kill you, okay. But kill a black man killing another black man. That is, to me, that's like first grade level code of conduct that should be implemented everywhere, anywhere. You don't go killing your brother. That's the Klan's job. Stop doing the job of the KKK. Goddamn it, seriously. Point blank. All right. So that's it. I'm out of here, guys. I'm about to go. I'm about to go go to this gym and get this run on. Join us at blackenough.com. That's our social media platform. We have lots of great black conversations there. You won't get banned like Facebook. You need to please join there because I don't know what YouTube is going to do. You know, black identity extremists like me who talk black stuff all the time are being pushed off social media platforms all the time. So if you join Black Enough, then we'll be connected in yet another way. Also, if you haven't learned to buy your first share of stock, I encourage you to do that. Investing is the future. You know, just if you look at Nipsey Hussle's life, all he talked about was wealth building and stacking paper, and he rapped about it and everything else. And I just love it because the rappers have a voice that I think is one of the most impactful voices anywhere. And I'm glad he used that voice for a good reason. So if you want to learn to buy your first share of stock, you can go to blackmoney100.com. That's blackmoney100.com. All right, let me turn this phone off right here. Okay, all right. All right, so I'll see you guys soon. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Hit the thumbs up button. Peace.